to share exactly how I went from being a $9 an hour beer league referee to earning $175,000 per year as a front-end full stack engineer, all right? And so I'm going to share the exact salary progression that I had in this industry so that you might know what that salary progression might look like for you if you were to get into the industry, if you are in the industry, and what have you, right? So let's start here. When I first started coding, this was in college, all right? So I was working a side job as a referee, and I was quite literally earning $9 an hour, right? If I could have enough money to get some beer on the weekends to like go eat out at Chipotle or something, this is the money I wanted and I was happy for it, right? So I was working for $9 an hour. This was not professional experience. At this point in my life, all I wanted was some money flowing in. This isn't even in the industry. At this point, I was in school, I was learning, I was doing what I could. I was not a great engineer. I didn't have many skills. I wasn't that valuable to any company. And so I hustled to find some kind of internship where I could get some real life experience working in the industry. And the first time I quote unquote actually broke into the industry wasn't even really a software engineering role. It was more, we'll call it an IT intern, all right? What I actually did for this company, I wrote basically Python scripts to automate some business processes. So in business, there's this thing called remittance advices. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically just if you pay a vendor company, right, an invoice they send you, you want to send an email saying, hey, look, I just paid your bill. Like, I want to make sure that you're good, I'm good, we're on the same page here. And so I was just automating little things like that. So they weren't having a person manually do these things, right? So they could save the business some money. So at this job, I wasn't that useful. I didn't even know what an API was. And I was earning $15 an hour as an intern. And what did I use here? I used Python. This was the language I used. This was just a summer, a few months of earning $15 an hour. So not much, not glamorous, but that's what was my first job in the industry. All right. After that, I landed a job at another internship at a pretty large bank. In this role, I was earning $32 an hour. And honestly, this was more money than I had ever seen, right? So mind you, 3 months of experience netted me nearly double the income right there. So this was 3 months, okay? One internship, $32 an hour. And this was at a big bank. I was a software engineering intern right here. So this was the first time I was at, I actually had the title of like, all right, I'm actually a software engineer. I do this, right? Actually, this was a 5-month internship, right? So this was a 5-month internship. And what was I writing here? I was writing JavaScript, right? So if you're familiar with Node, I was basically writing Node code, all right? On this particular internship, I wasn't really writing production code. I was working on prototypes. I was working on actually some crypto stuff and mostly just play a few months. They were letting me experiment with stuff and I got to learn on the job. And that's the thing you got to realize with a lot of these internships. They don't necessarily want a ton of value out of you. What they want to do is train you and they want to hire you as a full-timer. That's why they invest in interns so that they can get the talent early. As a result of this internship, I got a return offer. I can't remember the exact number at this point, but I want to say this was probably in the ballpark of somewhere 6 figures, give or take, probably a few $1,000s. So I got a return offer there and that was good. That felt good. Following that internship, so that was 5 months long. Following that internship, I actually had another internship directly after at Amazon, right? And I don't know the exact hourly at Amazon, but I think I did the numbers. And as an intern, they were paying me essentially a 6-figure salary at this point. And I can't remember the exact hourly. I want to say it was like somewhere in the realm of like $55 to $70 an hour, $55 to $70 an hour. This was just a 3-month internship. This was over the summer, right? So look at this, 3 months, 5 months, 8 months experience, right? Literally 8 months experience in the industry. I started earning, what was the equivalent of 6 figures at the time. So that's how quickly your salary can progress here. So we'll call this was Amazon. That's how quickly your salary can progress here in this industry. I worked that for the summer. This gave me a return offer. So if you land these internships, right, they want to hire you. They want to train you. They want to make sure you're good. And then they ultimately want to hire you. That's why they do these, right? And so this return offer was for, if I remember the exact number, I believe it was for $153,000 per year, right? If I signed. And ultimately I did sign, but I kind of reneged and I'll explain why here in a second. But that was my next internship. I did ultimately sign this offer, but as I said, I reneged, and my first full-time gig, I actually took a little bit of a pay cut because of personal reasons, right? I wanted to build on a startup. A buddy and I were working on a startup. I wanted more free time. I wanted to be remote. I wanted to be able to focus on my own project. So in my mind, it made sense to take a little bit of a pay cut to come over here where I had a few more options to actually pursue the things that I cared about. And so we'll back up a second. At Amazon, I was writing strictly Python code right there. So this was my first full-time role. And I was working as basically a front-end developer. offer this entire time. And, you know, I was there for, say, I want to say about 3 years, and I got a couple promotions. And so the promotions looked like I went to 135 and then I went to 142. And mind you, like, you know, a lot of people would consider this pretty good for, you know, software engineering or any job in general. But realistically, this is actually kind of on the low end for some of the compensations out there, right? You can go to a site called levels.fyi and you can actually see how disgusting some of the total compensations are. I mean, it's insane. So this was about 3 years and this is what I was earning. These were my salaries. Over here, I was writing mostly front-end code. So this was HTML, this was Vue, this was React. So these were, you know, it was mostly front-end stuff. We had a Python backend, but for all intents and purposes, I strictly wrote front-end code here. And yeah, so I ended up at 142. And then after which, you know, I changed jobs. I had an exciting opportunity and I changed jobs for the offer of 175,000. Here is the realistic salary progression. 3 months, not even as a software engineering intern. This is 8 months right here and another 3 months. So that's 11 months. So this is about 1 year of experience. Not even as a 1 year experience as an intern and then 3 years experience as a full-timer. So that's about 4 years experience total. And along the way here, I mean, I had a $160,000 offer thrown at me that I did not ultimately accept. I share all this not to toot my own horn. This was a realistic salary progression for what this looked like for me and what it might look like for you if you get into the industry, if you care about improving your craft, if you care about becoming an engineer full-time. And these are the numbers to expect. And I'll even add the caveat that I was offered $50,000 to move somewhere else beyond this. So that would have been a $225,000 offer right here to kind of jump ship and uproot my life and go do something else. Not necessarily interested in that, but I share all this so that you are aware what's possible right here in a very short amount of time, right? So, you know, if you're earning $40,000 a year, if you're earning $60,000 a year, is it worth your time investment to get over here? All these 3 years were remotely, right? I worked in different countries just for fun. I traveled all the time. I never felt stressed for money, right? I was always comfortable. And, you know, if you're looking for a way out, if you want to double your income, if you want to ultimately get some of these higher compensations, I mean, you look on levels.fyi, this is actually the median. I believe this is the median, if not below the median compensation for a software engineer, okay? You know, there's compensations up into the 300,000 plus, right? And some of these are even the base salary. You know, a lot of places will give stock and things like that, but some of these base salaries are just disgusting. This was my realistic salary progression. Let me know if this sounds in line with what you've seen or what you've experienced or seen others talk about. But I hope this was helpful for you. Hope you learned something here about what it takes, what a realistic path looks like. And let me know if you have any questions or comments. Leave them in the comments. I will respond to you and I will see you in the next video.